So I'm like I said, I'm trying to get back to that daily practice. Been struggling these last few days and can feel it in my body. But I mean, it was discouraging to feel that, you know, my body couldn't I couldn't totally rest my hands on the floor. And I feel like there's this aspirational kind of thing to yoga. Like you want your body to do all of these things in the way that the person showing you how to do them, the way they do it. And I think for me, when I first tried, before I really realized that that wasn't the ultimate point of doing yoga right, to contort your body in all of these shapes, um, I felt really discouraged that I wasn't able to move or didn't have certain flexibility in certain parts of my body. And so, even though I know, that that's not the goal of yoga, it was just something relieving to rest my hands on the bolster and have the floor come to meet me. And that just, I'm like, what would have happened if I would have had this experience when I was feeling bad because I couldn't completely rest my hands on the floor or touch my toes or, any number of things that my body just can't do yet. Yeah, and so just using it as I'm doing guided videos, yeah, it's just really helped me feel good about what I am able to do just by having that little extra support. And also, I've always been a person that loved sleeping on the floor, and that would drive my dad crazy because he's like, I work hard to give you a bed and you choose to sleep on the floor. But there's just a certain comfort that I have feeling the ground. And also, this is maybe not how the bolsters were intended, but I sometimes lounge on the floor with them and lean on them and watch Netflix, and they still provide a certain comfort. And so, yeah, both actually supporting the yoga practice and supporting me lounging around, sitting on the floor watching Netflix. So, as a person who believes that the Creator created things, I feel like we are all given creative paths, right? And so I believe it's innate. I believe that over time we're taught to kind of, I don't know, see it as frivolous or not something that should be prioritized in our lives. And I just started reading this book by co-author Riley called This Here Flesh, and there's a chapter on wonder. And in the chapter, she talks about how the older you get, you're taught to see things as childish, and that as you get older, you can't do the childish things, so you have to be this adult and so I just think that over time, I think some people are supported in retaining it and they become artists or what have you. But yeah, I think over time we're taught to see it as childish or frivolous or not something worth integrating into our daily life. And so, yeah, and I think those creative things for me have been tied to moving through trauma and difficulty. Because I will always credit the Carpetbag Theater for showing me how art can be a source of personal healing and also speak to larger issues. And so it also showed me that creativity and culture and art making can have a purpose larger than our individual selves. And so being mentored by folks from the Black Arts Movement, I hold that very near and dear and see those two sides influencing each other of how art can take care of the personal for us, but also do something for the collective. And when I've seen people be their most creative, it seemed like they were their most free.
Yeah.
And so I've just been looking at my own life, and there have been moments where freedom was kind of scary. And so I'm just wondering if there's a connection between this unbound creativity and freedom that scares people, and people want to control it, clamp down on it, let it only flourish to a certain extent, but before it gets too out of hand or too big. And so I'm just wondering, if it's because creativity can be tied to freedom, and that freedom could be a little scary for people because I don't know if we've ever really known what it was like to be free. And so there's all these unknowns to what that could be. Yeah, and I wonder if that could potentially be a part of what you're talking about.
I don't know if you just were born wise.
I just read a lot.